welcome back to It Came From a Vlog. I'm Kate and I'm super excited about today's video. It's actually a collaboration with Erin over on Kidlit and Learn. They have an amazing channel with tons of really great children's books. In this video, the kids and I are doing 5 yummy recipes to go along with 5 adorable children's books about the holidays. Erin will be sharing more information about those 5 children's books over on their channel. As always, all the links and information that you need will be in the description box below. Let's get merry and bright! The book that we're going to be reading today is Last Stop on the Reindeer Express. All right, so here's what we need for the reindeer chow, reindeer munch. I don't know, whatever it is, the reindeer recipe. We have creamy peanut butter. We have mini Reese's. I didn't even know these existed. That's probably for the best because they're unwrapped, which makes them easier to eat, so they should probably stay far away from me. I have 2 bags because I wasn't sure how many cups would be in each. Then I have these Christmas colored M&Ms, so festive. I have some semi-sweet chocolate chips, pretzels, and it calls for a cup of brownie mix, or you can mix powdered sugar and cocoa powder. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do the cocoa powder and powdered sugar because I don't wanna use a cup of brownie mix and then what do you do with the rest of it? Then all the ratios are off and I can't math like that. I can't math. Then we have the Chex. We're gonna mix it all together to make the reindeer munch. But first, we're gonna read the book. The Christmas market was busy with shoppers. Mia smelled cinnamon sugar and smoky wood. A flying reindeer, shouted a little boy. Which little boy said that? Mia had never seen such an exciting place. She wished that she could explore it. From Mia. Dear Mia, love Mom. To Mia, from Grammy. Little flaps. The pictures in here are so beautiful.
No way. That's good.
Yeah, that's delicious.
Yeah, peanut butter.
Microwave it for 30 seconds and then stir, and then 30 seconds and stir till it's smooth and creamy. Once those chocolate chips are all melted up, you put in some peanut butter and mix it up till it's a nice creamy mixture. If you've ever made puppy chow before, sometimes it's called Muddy Buddies, then you know how this goes. You gotta have strong muscles for this, huh?
I'm getting it.
Ooh. Oh, it smells good. Add in that Chex Mix and then stir it up till it's well coated. In this bag, we're putting the cocoa powder and the powdered sugar, and then adding the mixture and kind of wiggling and shaking it around till it is well covered with that powdered sugar mix. Okay, don't fall, don't fall. Now we're turning out the puppy chow onto a baking sheet. Riley is spreading it out, and you need to leave it until it kind of dries out. I would give it a few hours. Once the mix dried, we went ahead and dumped that into a big bowl, adding our Christmas M&Ms and our mini Reese's cups, as well as the pretzels that the recipe calls for. But what's great about this recipe is you can really add anything that you want. You can add marshmallows or Christmas candy or leftover Halloween candy. I am not judging you. Then just turn it around and mix it all up, and there you have it. Delicious reindeer chow. This is perfect for gifting to friends and neighbors too. You got some sweet, you got some salty.
Oh.
It was delicious and so simple. I highly recommend it. It is by far the simplest recipe that we make in today's video, but also just as tasty. Is that reindeer mix like the book we read?
Yeah.
The Reindeer Express?
Look, you can make a face kind of like legs in one face.
Our next book was A World of Cookies for Santa. This is a super detailed and extensive book about all different holiday traditions and cookies that they make for Santa all over the world. It's really educational and super cute. In this video, we're making the Mexican wedding cookies pictured on this page here. It even includes some recipes in the back.
That?
And because it's summer, a cool glass of milk or beer. Boys and girls who are too excited to sleep might hear the sound of the bell Santa rings as he leaves their home.
Santa's gonna get drunk tonight.
Just after midnight, Mexican children get to break open a what?
Piñata!
A piñata filled with small toys and treats. After they go to bed, Santa arrives to bring gifts. He looks forward to the nutty, sugar-coated Mexican wedding cookies they leave for him. All right, here's all the ingredients we're gonna need for the Mexican wedding cookies we're gonna make. You ready?
Yeah!
We've got our stand mixer, powdered sugar, regular sugar, flour, some almonds. The recipe in the book calls for walnuts, but I've also seen it made with almonds. That's what we have, so that's what we're gonna use. Some vanilla extract and butter. The first step is to cream up your butter and sugar, adding in some vanilla extract and whipping it till it's nice and smooth. One thing that I love about baking with the kids, even though sometimes it can feel like it's more trouble than it's worth and it takes longer to do things, the truth is it's beautiful shared time, making memories, and the added bonus of them learning about measurements and holding practicing counting and just learning how to prepare food themselves is so special. All right, we ninja chopped some almonds. We have to measure to make sure we have a cup. Once we had our almonds all chopped and measured, we added it to the wet mix, as well as adding in our flour and mixing that up well. Once you have a nice cookie batter, you're supposed to put it in the fridge for about an hour. Unfortunately, I forgot mine a lot longer, and that made them really hard and difficult to break apart, but I was able to form them into the balls as they're supposed to be, and they turned out perfectly regardless. Now we're gonna pop these in the oven for about 20 minutes, and then once they're completely cooled, we roll them in some powdered sugar. Riley had the messy but very delicious job of rolling these cookies in the sugar. These were so good. I could not stop eating them. Mexican wedding cookies are the stuff dreams are made of. They were so yummy. They're definitely my favorite cookies I've ever made, and probably my favorite cookies I've ever eaten. Yeah? Messy to eat, but delicious as well. Good? I was thrilled with how they came out, and I will be making them again. So simple and good. This next little beauty is called Pick a Pine Tree. It is adorable. Riley read it to us. It has a really sweet little rhyming structure, and we really enjoyed this one. Of course, you can learn more about this book and the other books over on Erin's channel.
Pick a pine tree from the lot. Pine trees for sale. Don't decorate alone. Call some people on the phone. Ask your friends to come and stay. Post a decorating day. Bring it home atop your car. Now, move aside a lamp or chair.
All right, here's everything we need for the Rice Krispie treat Christmas trees that we're going to make. So we have all the stuff to make Rice Krispie treats, a little butter, mini marshmallows, and our Rice Krispies. And then we have some food coloring, for our Rice Krispie treats to make them green like a Christmas tree. Then we have some white icing to decorate our trees, some star sprinkles, and some different Christmas sprinkles. There's little gingerbread men and Christmas trees and all kinds of stuff to decorate our trees. And then you need some Reese's cups, I think, as the base of the tree. If you've ever made Rice Krispie treats before, you know the drill. You do the same basic things, adding the butter and the marshmallows and then the cereal to make your mix. But in this case, we want it to be nice and green like a Christmas tree, so we added our dye right into the marshmallow and butter mixture. I would say go overboard with the dye because even though we got a nice green, once we added the cereal, it kind of dulled it down a little bit. Of course, I still think the end product is so adorable. This may be my favorite of all the recipes in today's video. Here's a handy little tip for you when you're dealing with Rice Krispie treats. Spray your hands with some of that baking spray before you start tackling this sticky mess, and it will not get all stuck to your hands. As we shape them into little Christmas tree shapes, I just want to say, be sure to pack them super tightly because after they sat for a day, they kind of started breaking apart, and I realized they really needed to be tightly compacted. Take the frosting and make, squeeze like this. After you shape them into Christmas trees, it's time to get to the fun part of decorating. I got some already made kind of cookie icing for decorating. You could totally make your own though, and just go wild with the sprinkles and the decorations. I was honestly surprised how much the kids enjoyed this and how long it kept them busy for. It ended up being a great activity and delicious too. Put a little dab of icing on top of the Reese's cup and pop the tree on there, and you've got a cute little tree stand. Look at how awesome they came out. They were so much fun to decorate and they just look so precious. I am 100% going to make these again next year. They'd be a really fun activity for Christmas Day to keep the kids busy too. This cute little gingerbread buddy is the character in Tough Cookie, another really sweet book that the kids enjoyed reading. Really funny too.
To you too, and since you brought it up, you do look very sweet. Crunch. What did he do?
Eat.
He ate him up. Miss Carol's Fox gave him a lick, but Cookie still tasted terrible.
Since these kid-friendly gingerbread men take 45 minutes for the dough to firm up in the fridge before they're cut, I decided to just forge ahead and go ahead and make the dough mix myself, and then the kids can cut them out and we'll bake them and they can do the fun part of decorating later. But for now, I will handle the mixing. Okay, I'm sincerely debating not sifting the flour because I hate doing it, but I'm gonna do it right because I'm making a video on it, so maybe I won't cheat today. I don't know what it is about sifting flour, but I really, really hate this task in baking and try to skip it pretty much all the time. After I sifted the flour, I added the spices. In this recipe, the spices are supposed to be a little bit less so that it's not quite as strong of a gingerbread flavor for the kids, but it still tasted rather gingerbready. So if your kids are not a fan of gingerbread, then you could always make rollout sugar cookie dough. Next, we're making our wet mix, which is butter, brown sugar, some eggs, and molasses. I'm gradually adding the dry mix to the wet in increments and then mixing it up nicely till we have a nice gingerbread dough. The dough does need to be refrigerated for a bit so that it holds its shape better, like most rollout doughs do. Before I wrap it in plastic wrap and put it in the fridge for 45 minutes. There it is. Sometimes I just cannot help myself, you guys. I'm sorry. But anyway, now that our dough has rested in the fridge for a bit, Holden and I rolled it out and we cut out our little gingerbread people. He was a really good helper. He even wanted to try rolling it out himself, and he was dedicated. He stayed with me the whole time and helped me do this task, which really surprised me. We popped them in the oven at 350 for about 8 minutes. We had to work in batches. This was just the first batch because this made so many, way more than we needed. And here I am, joyfully and unknowingly making a profound mistake of making this icing myself. I let the kids each make their own little bags and add the food coloring in so they could decorate their gingerbread men, but I made this icing way too thin and it ended up being a huge mess, which sent me back to the store to get those pre-made icings like I used in the earlier recipe with the Christmas trees. And you can see here that went way better. It was way neater and we got way cuter results. Now you can have the satisfaction of learning from my mistakes and simplifying this process completely. Here's a little peek at our gingerbread people before we got the store-bought icing. Still cute though. And here's the very last book. It's called Who's That Knocking on Christmas Eve? It's set in Norway, so it's really wintry and magical, and it has trolls in it. It's really fun. When they smelled the delicious aromas coming from her hut, little troll and the big trolls around the table, up the walls and out the windows. Scratch them, kitty! I'll be visiting your hut on Christmas Eve! And he disappeared into a huge snowdrift. The end.
That was fun.
That was a good one.
I love that one.
All right, finally is our Nordic-inspired Christmas cake. This cake is inspired by the beautiful Norwegian winter white snow. All right, it's all come down to this. The pièce de résistance, the cake. Yes, we're making a cake. I have a terrible track record with cakes, and this one is particularly beautiful, which means that gives me a lot of room to fall from that very high pedestal, and trust me, no doubt I will. However, the cakes are usually delicious, so at least there's that. Now I've got out some of what it takes to assemble this cake. You also need eggs and sour cream and milk and tons and tons and tons of butter for the buttercream and the cake itself. There's a lot involved here. There's a lot at stake. We're gonna do the best that we possibly can. I'm gonna go ahead and whip up this batter, get it in the oven, and get it cooling so that the kids can enjoy decorating, which is usually the most fun part of the cake making. Here we are back again, sifting flour for yet another recipe. Anyway, sifted the flour, added in the salt and all the other dry ingredients, the baking powder, etc., etc., etc. And then I added in the wet ingredients, which are some butter, some egg whites, some vanilla, and sour cream. Usually I'm not this daring and don't separate my egg whites right over the mix. I like to do it in a separate bowl because Lord knows sometimes I fail. I try and I fail, but I try again. This is by far one of the best tasting cake batters I've ever had. It's so light and delicious. Oh my goodness. Even if this doesn't turn into a delicious cake, the cake batter's so good, I feel like you should just eat it straight up. I know you're not supposed to, but don't judge me, it's so good. Even this recipe, you're supposed to use 3 6-inch pans, but this is what I have. I'm sure it's gonna look a lot more rustic and homemade. It's not gonna be perfect, but hopefully it'll be delicious and fun to make. So I'm gonna fill up these 2 pans, pop them in the oven, let them cool, and then we'll move on to the decorating. Now for my very, very, very least favorite part, turning the cakes out. And unfortunately this cake is super low and then really high here. It's uneven, which is gonna make our final product a little lopsided, but we'll do the best with what we have here. Thankfully these ended up turning out really well and they were really nice, fluffy and delicious cake. Now I moved on to making the buttercream. Unfortunately, I made a big mistake by not getting enough unsalted butter. So I had to add a little bit of extra sugar to give the buttercream that sweetness that it needed for a cake. But even then, there was just a tiny bit too much salt. That's something to keep in mind. We are separating the icing out to dye some of it green because you want to do this kind of like green and white swirl in the layer in the middle between the two layers of the cake, which I did here. This is my first time doing it and I went a little bit under with my icing because I was afraid I wouldn't have enough. And it's true, I probably should have made some more icing. What the recipe called for just didn't seem like enough. That may come down to the fact that we're doing a bigger cake but less layers. I'm really not sure. But either way, it worked out. I did end up getting some of that green icing into the white, but it's still really cute. The main trick of this cake is you use these ice cream cones and cover those with frosting. These are supposed to be piped on with a star-shaped tip in the piping bag, but I do not have one of those, so we just kind of piped it on and spread it, and it has this really whimsical homemade touch that I really think turned out really nicely. Since I still had a bit more green frosting, I decided to pipe some more onto the trees to just kind of give them more of a tree shape and then pipe a little green edge around. I really need to go buy myself some decorator's tips, so I think it would have turned out really nicely with those. Now you kind of shake it back and forth like this. Gonna wash my face, my hands in snow, snow. And here it is after our powdered sugar snow dusting. Isn't it so cute? I absolutely love how this turned out. It's so whimsical, kind of reminds me of how the Grinch stole Christmas in Whoville or something. I don't know. I'm just so pleased with it. I think it would look beautiful on the holiday table as a dessert too.
That looks good.
Yeah, you can see the white and green, white and green. Next time we have to make a lot more icing so that we can get thicker.
Yeah. We need
thicker icing layers. Is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed today's video and it got you in the holiday spirit. Be sure to click the link in the description box below and check out Erin's channel to learn more about these adorable children's books that go along with the recipes we made today. If you love children's literature, you will love Kidlit and Learn. Erin loves to share all different fun and unique children's books on a variety of topics and themes. I love how cute and funny and straight to the point their videos are, and I think you're gonna enjoy them too. Thanks for joining us, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.